Alright everybody, so up to this point what we've done is we've started with neutral colors. We've dealt with grays and browns and blues and laying down the shadows and not really worrying so much about the color. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about layering those value areas with the original color. Okay? You want to do this when it's already dry. So, for example, in the picture, Parker's shirt is this bright kind of blue. And I've painted in the shadow areas. And I've painted in a little bit of the shadow of where Spider-Man's going to be, but I didn't start with my bright blue yet because it's a lot harder to add shadows in after than it is to start with it. So I just want to walk you through how this is going to work. So for example, since I'm using a bright color, you want to make sure that your palette is kind of clean so that the color doesn't mix in with all the yucky things we already have there. So I'm going to put a little water down on my palette, mix it around once, and just pick up that area so I have a nice clean spot to mix. And now I'm ready to go. I'm going to put a little water down and take a little water on my pure blue and just brush that color until it's about the right value and all of that jazz. And it's looking alright. If you're not sure if the color is right, you could always take a piece of scrap paper touch it to the edge and kind of see what you think. I think that's pretty good. I'm not really too worried about it. I'm going to add a little more blue just to be safe. Yeah, I like that. Alright, so now I'm going to go right on top of the shadows. Because it's already dry, it's not going to bleed, but it will show through. Colors that you originally had in there, giving it some form, and making it a little easier to look three-dimensional. No problem. And if you want to darken an area, you can layer it on top, and since this area is still wet, it'll blend for you, which is kind of nice. And I'm going to do the same thing in the sky now. The sky didn't have a lot of dark values. It's kind of pure for the most part. So I'm going to start with kind of a purpley blue just to lay it in. And the process is going to be the same that I did for the boys here. I'm going to dry the brush as much as possible and just draw in the edge of the clouds. And you notice I'm fanning out that line because I don't want it to be too harsh. And the more I use the brush, the more it's going to lighten on its own. Take a little water and just blend out that color so you don't see where the line ends. Pretty good. And do the same thing here. Blot it a little so it's not too wet. I lost the top of my drawing here. I don't think anybody chose to paint clouds, but if you are, the big thing with it is to make sure that the edge of it isn't too harsh. It's kind of a soft line. And if you notice, because I was looking at some of the images that were uploaded, and really nice job while I was up, by the way. If you notice that some areas are getting streaky or aren't blending, try using a tiny bit more water. Even if it's already dry, you can kind of reactivate it if you brush over it enough. And that works out pretty nicely. Alright, do a little more purple here. Just a little bit. It's like a reddishness in this area. So, a little more red than that. go. Not bad. And this bottom part's almost like a pink. There we go. All right. And if it looks too dark, the first step, just blot it a little bit. That usually does the trick. Don't really need to add too much water. And the easiest way to blend two colors is to do it when it's wet. Alright, so for today, here's what I'd like you to do. If you haven't already laid in the shadow areas, those are with browns and blues or any two complements mixed together. Start there. Once it's dry, you can start layering on top of your shadow areas with your pure color, and that will help give it more three-dimensional form so that you can tell if it looks kind of like a sphere or kind of like a cone or kind of like a cylinder in the way that the light falls on it. Okay? I'm going to give you all period to work. If you're home, take a picture, put it up, and P.S. A lot of you did such a beautiful job. Many of you did forget to put up progress pictures. When I do something like that, that is specifically to help your average. It means work on your project, put in some proof that you made anything today, and I can give you 100 for participation for that day. If you don't put it in, you're really kind of hurting yourself. So make sure you put something up. The quarter ends really soon. It's the 24th. That's 9 days. So take a look in your Google Classroom and make sure that anything that you need to put in for this quarter is up so I can give you a beautiful grade like I want to. Okay? So have a great period. Let's make some art. Let's do this. Okay. Why is it still going?